What's the stupidest way you've injured yourself? Put a knife into a slingshot to shoot my buddy in the ass. Believe it or not, there was no ill will involved. The idea popped into my head and my 14-year-old brain thought, holy poop. That sounds hilarious. Fortunately, the knife slipped and completely opened up the space between my thumb and forefinger. Internal stitches, external stitches, and a thing that held my hand in place for a while. I felt dumb. It hurt badly. But at the end of the day, I'm so happy I hurt myself instead of doing some serious damage to someone else because I wasn't thinking things through. Trying to clean the facial hair out of my razor, I sliced one of my fingertips slightly open. Less than a second later, and irritated with blood dripping onto the sink, I quickly attempted to clean the rest of the razor exactly the same way with my next finger. In my defense, it was very early in the morning and I wasn't yet a coffee drinker at that point in my life. I've told this story before, but here's once more. I was sleeping one afternoon, and all my weight had fallen on my arm. As a result, my arm fell asleep too and got dead numb. The phone started ringing and the sound somehow blended in my dream, causing me to dream about a fire alarm going off. I got panicked in my sleep, and that panic continued when I realized that the ringing wasn't just in my dream. It was happening for real. So I popped up, sleepy and confused, and started running towards the source of the noise. Comically enough, my arm was so numb that it was beyond my control and was flailing randomly by my side, crashing onto nearby walls and furniture as I was running towards the sound. It was like running with a jelly-like arm. Think what happened to Harry Potter and HP in the Chamber of Secrets when Lockhart deboned his arm accidentally. Anyway, I don't know which of the billion crashes and bumps was the one that did the job, but that's how I dislocated my pinky. It was a good hit and my finger stood at a really weird angle afterwards, so I had to go to the doctor to put it back in its place. Hurt like a bitch too. The first few weeks of boot camp I was still learning to shave properly. I turned 18 while I was there and only had a bit of chin fluff. My face wasn't used to daily shaving and I started getting this really itchy, dry, crusty skin around my chin. We'd also been issued ultra fine grained sandpaper for polishing the brass parts of our ceremonial uniforms. I had the bright idea to smooth my face out with it one morning, which actually worked really well. Took the dry itchy skin right off, and a few layers underneath, which didn't hurt at the time but stung like hell about 30 minutes later during a dress inspection, and was apparently really visible because the parts I'd polished were swollen red. The drill staff were, in a way, impressed since no one else had sandpapered their own face before. So I guess I hold some sort of record in that regard. I put my finger in a fan to realize if the fan was spinning fast enough. I was baked and baking and couldn't see the meat thermometer, so I leaned in and grilled my face a bit. I still look a bit like John Marston. I destroyed my back putting on socks one morning. I couldn't move without spasms for over a week. To be fair, I had done a lot of snow blowing and shoveling in the prior days, but the socks were the last straw for my back, apparently. I was cutting a wire tie off a couch a month ago and stabbed myself in the wrist with a steak knife. Got a tetanus shot after that one. Okay, edit, since this apparently is getting attention, I got the TDAP shot from my local pharmacy and it didn't hurt that much. It was a $400 couch from Wafer for my grandmother. And I was not cutting toward myself, I was cutting straight forward, but the force I used sent my right hand towards my left one in a weird, hard to describe with just text way. It was a sucky day. So my son wanted me to open his ice cream bar. You know, the good humor ones on the stick. I was standing next to the kitchen table. I dropped the ice cream and when I moved my hands down to catch it, I hit the top corner of the chair with my wrist. Broke 2 bones in my wrist and spent weeks in a cast. I caught the ice cream though. Once, I banged my arm on a table. It was so deep I had to go to the And get stitches. Only made that mistake once. I now have a permanent scar because table. Edit. Wow, my most popular comment is about cutting myself on a table. Fell off my bed and broke my ankle. I put 2 mattresses down on my stairs to turn into a slide. There was a radiator at the bottom of the stair which I failed to cover with a blanket or put a pillow in front of it because I was a stupid child. The last time I slid down it I went a bit too fast and my foot ended up going up in the air. I fell about 15 feet off a balcony while in university and trying to hit on a girl. Was very drunk and didn't realize how thin the railing was. Out and over I go. Got my arm caught in the bars on the way down. Messed up my shoulder. And landed on my hands and face. Broke or sprained all of my fingers. Not a good night for this guy. I was taping something up in my bedroom with duct tape. I don't remember what it was. I was using a steak knife to cut the tape. But I was having a hard time with it because 2 hands plus roll of tape plus strips of tape plus knife equals? Question mark? Question mark. So I did what any sane person would do. I jammed the knife into the side of a cardboard box, blade pointing outward, so I could easily cut the tape. I did this. The microwave with my precious little pizza rolls had beeped. And I went to get them. Goddamn it, what the fuck was that on my shoulder? JPG, I walked past the knife and had caught my shoulder on it. Resulting in me needing a number of stitches over 10. Edit. A few mobile typos. Not me but my brother. Him and his friend were playing FIFA and both are very competitive. It got to the 89th minute and the score was 1-1. My brother scored a last minute winner and jumped up to celebrate. It's still the only time I've witnessed someone injure themselves whilst playing a computer game. I was maybe 10 and pulling weeds with a thing that looked like a forked screwdriver. Basically you'd shove it in the root and pull up. One especially pesky weed wouldn't let go, so I pulled upwards with all my little might. It let go and I stabbed myself in the face right beside my eyeball. Luckily it just missed by I had a decent gash. He turned over and let rip the loudest fart. Right on me. Causing me to jump back in such shock that I elbowed the corner of my desk with such force I had to go to the accident and emergency for an x-ray. I'm laughing about it now. But it honestly hurt like a fricker. I thought I'd shattered every bone in my arm. I never told anyone that's how the injury happened either. I just told everyone something made me jump. No one ever said you couldn't touch it, so I won. Had the most excruciating circular blisters in the shape of a stove burner for a week or 2. A few months ago I was squatting at the gym and somehow managed to crack a rib in the process. For the life of me I'm not sure how I managed that. I dislocated my kneecap on a dance floor. Depends on what you mean by stupidest. If we're looking at an injury resulting from doing something stupid, then there was the time I got a corneal ulcer because I wore contacts at work. We were sandblasting. I knew it was stupid before I did it. But have you ever tried the overglasses safety glasses? They're a pain in the ass, and the bridge of the nose. And behind the ears. I had to sit in a pitch black room for days. Even the light from the TV on the dimmest setting was excruciating, dropping liquid fire into my eye at regular intervals. If we're going for how the frick did that even happen? Stupid. I once sneezed and, I'm pretty sure, pulled a muscle in my neck. No idea how it happened. But it happened and it hurt like a bitch. Rolled my ankle pretty bad. I've never really lived that one down. I also dislocated a shoulder getting overly competitive in a sack race. And I've also dislocated a shoulder just in my sleep. Unfortunately. Once you pop you just can't stop. I was injected with 2 large syringes full of heavy duty detergent while drunk and unconscious on the floor. Intramuscular. Not intravenously. He whacked the needles through my jeans and emptied them into my leg. I didn't know anything was wrong until the next day when I woke up and couldn't walk and started puking all over myself. I let a schizophrenic guy sleep on my couch while he was in a bad place. I nearly died of liver, kidney and heart failure, and I nearly lost my leg. Spent just under 4 months in hospital, and it took a year to regain the ability to walk. It was a bad time. I was pretending to be a chicken and someone opened a door into my face. I was studying in an awkward position on my stomach for an hour or two. And I strained my lower back to the point where it was extremely uncomfortable unless it was in a certain position. That was fun telling my coach the next day I couldn't do any exercises. Threw out my back by opening a bag of chips. Ran full speed into a pole balls first. It wasn't easy explaining it to my mom. I broke my toe by turning around and stubbing it on a wall. But a friend of mine is the champion of hurting yourself in stupid ways. Broke his finger trying to pick up a stationary basketball, broke his toe walking down a flight of stairs, got a concussion. Playing dodgeball, had to take a couple days off school because he drank something really spicy. He was paid $20 to drink it. And then made him write a book report on a book with a title that was basically How Not to Screw Up Your Life. At 49 years old, I decided to go snow tubing with the kids. It was really icy. A torn meniscus. And nerve damage in my lower leg and foot. 3 surgeries. 12 screws and a plate in my leg. And 8 months off work. I was late for work. Rushing around and getting changed. I was pulling my socks on whilst standing up, because I'm a moron and thought that would be faster. Lost my balance. Hopped a couple of times before falling into the nearest wall. I had to explain this to a doctor and a nurse while they popped my dislocated shoulder back in place. I dropped my phone straight onto my face while texting in bed. I went to slide on my stomach on a hardwood floor. I was completely sober when it happened too. Just bored. Punched myself in the face lifting something heavy when the plastic packing strap around it broke. Had myself a big bloody lip and a stupid story. Busted my nutsack on a mechanical bull at the Saddle Ranch in Los Angeles while in college. Right when I signed the waiver I said, "What's the worst that could happen?" I found out. Must have slammed my nuts into the saddle while doing it but didn't notice. Went to the bathroom later and while in line noticed my legs felt sticky. I put a hand down my pants and when I pulled my hand out it was covered in blood. My buddy asked what that was. I told him. Then said, "Watch. Clean hand. Bloody hand." While putting my other hand down and up to show the blood. Went into stall. Blood all over both legs. Put some TP down there and went back to having a good time at the bar. At the end of the night, went to the hospital and got 8 stitches on my nutsack. Was a pretty fun night. Instead of turning on the light I walked to the bathroom in the middle of the night with all the lights off and ran into the door. I stabbed an X-Acto knife blade all the way into my palm while opening a new pair of boxing gloves. I knew right away what I did. The worst part was having to clean up the obscene amounts of blood I got all over the place. Put a staple in my thumb because I was pushing the stapler against my thumb and I was apparently a very stupid child. When I was an early teen, I wanted to see how my butt looked in new jeans. Unfortunately, the only mirror I had was the vanity in my bathroom. So I stood on the lip of the toilet opposite the mirror to see how they fit. Fell off the toilet. And busted my head on the door. The doctor and nurses couldn't stop laughing. The doctor wrote me a prescription for a full-length mirror. Pre-story context: when I was younger my brother and I would watch TV together. We had a different taste in shows and my parents didn't govern what was on, so it was really down to who had the remote. Because of this, if I had the remote I would take the remote with me when getting up to go to the toilet or get a drink, etc. So one day I get up and go for a piss. Me being 7, I didn't really care about my privacy, so I left the door ajar, which became my downfall. I finished doing my thing, and after washing my hands I bent down to get the remote. At the same time my mum notices the door is open, so she shuts it. Me being a poop comprehends the door being shut but still stands up. My head goes straight into the door handle and leaves a nice big cut which needed stitches. I still don't quite understand how a door handle did so much damage. You wouldn't have thought they had it in them. Anyway, it turns out this wasn't a rat hole and I was met by a swarm of angry hornets.
Hi there. Look, if you enjoyed the video, well, why not go ahead and hit that like and subscribe to Reddit Stories. In fact, if you want to see even more responses to this thread, well then, take a look. There's the link in the description below. And remember, show some love to those authors while you're there. And I look forward to seeing you next time.